Good morning. This sample is some pond water, and this is one of the interesting animals, I think, because it's so geometric. It appears to be a colony of about 18 cells that somehow knows how to work together to move. I think it has flagella on each cell. I found several of these. They aren't real abundant, but I was able to take a nice picture of this one. It knows enough to stick around this thing and eat it, for what that's worth. Now this next video shows the rear end of a rotifer, which is a very common thing in these samples. And in the lower center of the picture is a large something or another, a ciliate of some sort. And the interesting thing is that there's some behavior being shown by this rotifer. Notice how the rotifer stays away from this large ciliate thing. So the ciliate has some sort of defenses, and the rotifer knows enough to go around them. Now, this is an amoeba that I found crawling among these strands of algae. You can see the individual cells of the algae, but you can see the amoeba flowing around. Quite creepy to watch it move. It just amazes me that it can flow and reform its cell wall. Well, not a cell wall, a cell membrane. I like these things. They're amazing. Now, those completely fluid amoebas are just one type. This is another type that has a hard shell. It's a round, hard shell, and we're looking at the top of it. And this shell is so hard that I can't focus through it. There's a lot of, but you can see the feet of the amoeba being extended out as it's moving along. And they're called pseudopods, and it's sticking out those pseudopods as it's moving along next to that strand of algae. So it's like a little hermit crab that has a hard shell. Now here's the same amoeba sticking its feet out. There's also a completely soft amoeba that's right next to it. You can see that these pseudopods come out, and then the hard shell moves along. Again, it was so opaque that I couldn't focus through it, so I have no idea what's happening on the other side of that round shell. Now this next video shows a group of 5 or 6 Vorticella on stalks hanging off of a common group of algae, probably. These Vorticella create vortices and suck in preys of bacteria and small animals. And they're not too common, but they're quite interesting because they can retract their, on those stalks. Those stalks can retract in less than 1/100th of a second, it seems like. And here's a close-up of a couple of Vorticella hanging off of a string of algae. And you can sort of see them moving their mouth to create a vortex to suck in food. And again, those stalks, when they contract, they do a little spiral thing, so they have some sort of muscle in them. But this is a single-celled organism. How do they do all that in a single cell? I do not know. Now this video shows a multicellular worm thrashing around because it's caught in some algae. It's probably a nematode. And that long-necked thing swimming around is a single-celled organism. So you see that single cells can be as big as multicellular organisms. And then the solid submarine thing swimming around is a diatom, which has a hard shell and swims very slowly. Multicellular things tend to swim faster. In addition to these fast wiggling nematodes, I found some slow fat worms like this one. These are a lot creepier. I don't know what they're called, but they sure are creepy looking. They're large multicellular organisms, and they were fairly common. Well, they're so big that you see them easily. You can see their insides working.